Welcome to The Disruption Is Now. Join us on this enlightening journey as we explore how AI is impacting our jobs, careers, lives, and the human experience. Each episode, host Greg Matusky will converse with visionaries and innovators at the forefront of AI, diving into its challenges, opportunities, and impact. So buckle up as we venture into the heart of disruption, and together, let's unfold the future.
Well, welcome to another episode of The Disruption Is Now. I'm Greg Matusky, the host. I'm also the CEO and founder of Gregory FCA. And our podcast is all about talking about AI and how it's impacting all elements of our culture and our commerce. It's been a whirlwind. Last 2 years, we've produced 70 episodes now. I get the rare opportunity to speak with experts throughout the world. And today, I'm going to talk with Tom Fields. He has a company based in Kentucky called Fynancial with a Y. He's coming to us from the restored church, and it's now his office. And he's promised to open up the bourbon room after our shoot today. Tom, thanks for being with us. I really want to go into your experience first of how you came to this point in your career. You have a platform for advisories that is AI enabled, but I'm always interested in how people from outside the industry, not those that aren't perhaps machine learning PhDs or have been working on this for the last 20 years, how they came to it and what they discovered by it. So let's go through your journey first so I can learn more about, and our listeners, viewers can learn more about what it took you to get to this point in your career.
Yeah. So I'll start out by saying, I think, if people want to start something that could change the world or just have ideas, right? Like they typically carry maybe like an idea book. And I don't think that's the right way to journal your thoughts. I think you should actually carry like a little problem book, just because, the best companies, the best solutions just solve problems. It's not necessarily great ideas. So I faced a lot of those problems when I was an advisor. So I was an advisor for 5 years prior to Fynancial. CFP just like deeply believed that the advisor's voice can change the world. There's such an important part, and it will continue forever, just the role of an advisor.
Where did that belief come from? Had you always thought you'd be in financial services, or was it something that came once you started your career?
Yeah. I think, advisors, when you talk about having the opportunity to speak to someone's heart, it's like maybe second past like a pastor, truly, right? I mean, you think about like you have healthy marriage and you have divorce. You have people who are, maybe just greedy, or you have people that are generous. And the difference there is having someone that you could trust and lean on. And that's it. So, right, like I just think the actual role of an advisor is just critical. And yeah, I mean, I had my own, kind of personal experiences while an advisor that really led to Fynancial. And again, it just really started with like the problems I was facing, speaking with clients, just how, I went about growing the business, which led to, the inception of Fynancial.
So then you were building your practice, and you had shared with me you had kind of a cataclysmic experience that drove home the need to do things differently.
Yeah. So I always, say like any advisor listening, hopefully this has never happened to you. It's nothing you should be proud of, but if it has, one day when I was an advisor, I was fired by my largest client. So it was a very bad day, and just kind of long story short, I reached out to the client just to kind of say, hey, what happened here? How can I improve? And what he said to me was really the genesis of Fynancial. He said, Tom, it wasn't like you underperformed. It wasn't like your planning is off. It was, I just haven't heard from you in 6 months. And I'm not an advisor that would ignore my largest client for 6 months. So for the listeners, maybe this sounds familiar. This is what I was doing. I was posting on LinkedIn every day. I have my own YouTube channel for educational videos. I was sending segmented emails specifically to this individual as a business owner around financial planning and business ownership. Clearly, he wasn't seeing any of that stuff, just because LinkedIn has an algorithm. YouTube has ads that get clients distracted, and email, it's even worse now, but it's filled with spam. So sounds simple, but it's hard to get a hold of clients. It's almost impossible to convert a prospect, to a paid client via email. And we got to figure this out. So What we do at Financial is, hey, we pick up this device 96 times per day. We look at it for 5 hours a day. If we want to get our clients' attention, you better be on that device. So we white label an app for RIAs. We integrate all of their tech stack into that platform. But most importantly, give the advisor and clients a superior communication tool. So advisors who use Financial can just tell their clients, go to the app for everything.
So
And
help me out. Help me understand. So you had this epiphany, right?
yeah,
And you looked at the world and you say it's becoming so noisy. Here I was talking and no one was listening, right? And that's the first rule of communications, right? It's not about the sender, it's about the receiver.
that's right.
And so how do you go about making that jump and becoming a Kentucky-based fintech company? As you said earlier, before the interview, it's one of the only in Kentucky. So how do you go about learning AI and how to apply it in a platform like this?
Yeah. So I've always said, I think this is going to work out, but if it does work out, I might write a book called Risk-Free Startup, just because, I think I was incredibly lucky on how I, got started. Kind of went to my old boss this idea. That didn't work out. It was a couple of days later, I met an RIA and just kind of said, hey, like, let me come in, let me build this thing. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, I'll just be your advisor, the best app ever. So I think there's something to be said about, really finding the right partner that you can test and build underneath and solve real problems before you take anything to market. And that's what I had the chance to do. Now with AI, I was a past advisor. So like, this isn't something that I'm, an expert in, and I'll admit that. I have an incredible team now that is constantly has a pulse on what is happening in this fast, ultra fast moving technology. So just recently, we went to Wealth Management Edge. We announced our new Agentic AI kind of feature on top of this app that truly I think is going to change this industry. We brought home our first piece of hardware, which is exciting. But hey, it's just, again, it goes back to what I said is good things happen when you solve real problems. And technology is supposed to be built to make life easier, not more challenging. And if we can solve big problems and make people's lives easier, you're off to the races.
Let's talk about that agentic AI. I'll tell you, I've heard, I think it was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, the biggest thing that's going to happen are agents. And, it was explained to me in very crude terms at that point because it hadn't been realized. This was about a 4-week boom in the hype cycle of AI. And it was very early that eventually we'd have these agents that could do the thinking in the background and the activities in the background. And it always would relate to travel, right? They would say it's going to allow you now not just to create an itinerary, but it's going to book your airline tickets. It's going to manage your frequent flyer miles. It's going to book dinner at a French restaurant in Paris for you. Tell me your definition of agentic. Help us understand when you use that term, what it means.
Yeah. So AI compared to agentic AI, it's like saying you almost have a personal assistant if you just have AI. First, you have a PhD employee with agentic, meaning if you can design AI now with agentic AI to give this AI function a specific role, and it will do exactly that 24/7, and not mess up. And
So
so
why is
where
that important as opposed to using just a generalized platform?
I'll give you an example. So, with our platform, to kind of back up, because we have the data in the CRM, because we have the data with the performance reporting and the planning and all that, right? We're able to put agentic AI on top. So with a tool like Financial, you have AI, data, and you have delivery. And so, story here is an advisor with Financial can ask their app, wake up, let's say I'm an advisor, I got the cold sweats, I'm just kind of freaking out about who's a client I haven't spoke with in the last 60 days. You can literally ask your app, hey, give me a list of clients I haven't spoke with in the last 60 days. Then it's going to prompt up based on reading the CRM, reading what's happening in the app. Hey, here's your clients you haven't spoke with. The The advisor then can say, great, hey, go ahead and send a message to just those clients with my calendar link to get them back on my calendar. Like, that's the efficiency we're talking about. And where agentic comes in is we cannot have just generalized AI reading all of this sensitive data and expecting it to not mess up. And so you have to have specific AI designed to read the CRM, or specific AI designed to read, the performance reporting, kind of data stream coming in. So there is no like one beautiful kind of AI that can handle kind of this job currently in the technology. You have to build specific agents that have a specific role, so you're not getting responses that are incorrect, or you're not having AI read data that's not supposed to read.
Well, how can this help you, for instance, with the agentic side? Everyone I hear, they want organic growth, right? First and foremost, and they want to keep their commission at current rates, right? So help me understand perhaps how RIAs could use this to achieve the financial and the managerial aspects of what the industry is.
We could spend the rest of the podcast answering this question, but I'm going to give you a few, simple examples. So first and foremost, we got to break down what organic growth is, because that's a term that's thrown around that I don't think folks, narrow it down. So there's two ways to grow any business, mine included, listeners, right? We can make our current clients more profitable. So for an advisor that's getting more wallet share, or we can go find new clients. That is the only two ways. I don't really care how you splice and dice it. That's it.
So you can get more profit out of your current, more margin out of your current clients, or add additional clients.
You got it.
All right,
that's it.
Keep
right?
going.
So if we start on the first example, and so I'll say this, the industry puts way too many resources right now trying to convert cold traffic to a paid client. It's a whole lot easier is getting more wallet share and making client referrals easier. And then we can, focus on the third that I just discussed. But let's give an example of how you could use AI to actually get more wallet share. So anytime a current client can feel like a message is personalized, or wow, my advisor just thought about me this morning, or my advisor just understands what's happening even before I even understand this. That is how you can pique interest, right? So, a good example here is if a client, let's just say it makes sense for a client to understand what a structured note is. I'm kind of making this up. So this would be like an alternative type of, in like an alternative sleeve. This would make sense for a certain subset of clients. Well, with, AI, you're going to have the ability to actually communicate and market to just those clients through your own app about what a structured note is, how they work, the benefits, the risk, the liquidity, all this good stuff, while your other clients aren't reading about this because they don't need to. It doesn't make sense. So by the time, you actually speak with that client, because they will raise their hand and say, I'm interested, I want to learn more. They already know everything that is being discussed around this specific offer or this specific product. You don't need to start, at just from the beginning and try to do everything in an hour meeting. So by the time the client is actually speaking with the advisor, they've raised their hand saying, hey, this sounds interesting, I'm ready to go. We're speeding up, right, decision-making at this point. So one way right there, by truly just using data around the client and making sure you're sharing the right information to the right person at the right time.
I think that's a really good point. It's something and you use a wonderful example, because it's one thing to say it's going to be more personalized in the future. Well, when you say that, people think, oh, it is personalized already. I mean, we have different channels. You can write different messages, but I don't think enough people really realize what we're about to see. And I analogize it to personalized transportation. That before Uber, we really believed that the market for personalized transportation, the demand, was just about equal to the supply of taxis, right? Why do you need more? You don't have more taxis in a city, right? You have a certain amount. And no one realized this. No one put it together that there's a huge demand for personalized, customized travel. So that, now I used to go to New York every week from Philadelphia. In the winter, there'd be a line around Madison Square Garden because there weren't enough taxis. But you put up with it. You didn't really put it together. Uber comes out, and all of a sudden you see there's this huge demand that no one ever knew existed. It was kind of like Stephen Jobs with the iPad when he said, "I know what people want," and he was right, because every time he premiered it to someone or showed it to someone in a focus group, which he did not like, they said, "I don't need that. I got my phone." I think the same holds true for customized, personalized communications. We think it's customized, right? But we don't really know what that looks like. I always joke around and say something like, imagine the show Seinfeld was to be shown in Denver as if it occurred in Denver, where Jerry lived in Denver, where Elaine lived in Denver, right?
Yep.
You could do that in the future. You could highly customized to the exact market. And no one thinks of those terms. They think, oh, I'll write that piece on notes and I'll send it to my entire database on structured notes. I'll send it to my entire database and it'll be self-selective. If somebody wants to read it, they'll read it. But that doesn't have the same impact as really getting into somebody's, I always say pain points, their interest areas on a highly micro level. There may be just 5 people in the world, but maybe all you need are 5 people to be communicating with. So I think that's brilliant. I'm going to let you
and I'll tell you what is available today. So this isn't even the future, right? So right now, if you think about how do advisors segment their book of business, it's generally done by like a tag in the CRM. Okay, well, tags are dynamic. I mean, tags are static, right? So, a tag, like if interest changes with the client, or maybe they work at Apple and then they, go to Google, you would have to actually just like change that tag, and if you forget, maybe you continue to send things to that client that's no longer at Apple about Apple. Okay, so what AI can do now is we're moving from tags to actually incorporating data that is fed in real time. And so what is available, with Agentic AI on top of the platform we offer is, truly you could, like, this is true personalization, is at 4:00, Apple, reports earnings. Well, that advisor could then ask their app, hey, give me a list of clients that hold Apple. Hey, go summarize the recent quarterly report on Apple. Great. Send that message out to just those clients tomorrow at 9 a.m. That is what makes that fuzzy feeling happen for the end client, where they're now going to be fed information about something they're passionate about, they hold, et cetera. And it's that is personalization. And the most important part about all of this is you mentioned it. It's like putting a billboard on a road where it has no car traffic. If you're doing all this, but the end client doesn't see that, nothing happens. And so that's why, again, you got to have your own distribution channel. You got to be able to get your clients' attention, because, if we're going to be using AI to create scale and to create that personalization, you better find a way to actually get your clients' attention.
You say a lot of interesting things there. And I think AI has created this environment where you can't get anything through. I had a meeting early this morning with my biz dev guys, and someone had sent me, we're an AI shop. I wanted to market to some AI firms. Someone sent me a list, the possibility of buying a list of AI companies. So I go to my biz dev guy, should we do this? Should we buy it? And he said, nothing gets through anymore, Greg. I mean, we have no hope of getting through. And I suddenly realized exactly what you're talking about. And I said, I knew why. He told me anyway. He said, look, you get so much. If you go to a trade show, I get 5 emails from the same person about setting up a meeting. They scour my website, okay? Now, if you can believe this, I'm going to an AI conference, okay? And I'm going to be speaking, but it's not really a PR conference, right? I'm a PR guy. I'm not selling data, how to purify data. I'm not selling some AI solution. I'm getting hundreds of inbound emails from companies that want to meet to talk about my data management solution, right? And they scoured my, they went through and crawled my site, and they're putting in meaningless references of the clients I have to think that's personalization. And AI has created all of this noise that's blocking us. And when I had that conversation, and this is what really interests me, what you said, is I felt like, yeah, it's the attention we need to get. And why aren't they looking at it? They're not getting it because we're not telling them something that's of interest to them, something that can relieve their pain point, something where is meaningful to them, right? And I think you put it into really nice terms when you explain it that way. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get harder to get your message out.
Yeah, I mean, that's, unfortunately, I'm sure this happens to advisors as well. I have to click my spam folder sometimes because I have no control what Gmail does, but they'll throw, an important email in spam. So deliverability is just continuing going to tank. There's so much volume. There's so much AI automation happening. It's almost like when people are running to do the same stuff. So try to automate everything, it's like, that's when you want to almost tilt your head the other way and maybe take a step back. But yeah, we live in fascinating times right now. And I think with, agentic workflows, just, where I see this technology happening, I think we're 2 years away from truly an advisor where all they are doing is they are just speaking with clients and prospects. They're not inputting any data. All these things are going to be triggered using specific agents. The efficiency is going to go through the roof. This industry is going to be changing very quickly. And you brought up Uber and a taxi. Same thing with Blockbuster and Netflix. Like, what did they do? They just Netflix made entertainment one click away. Uber made transportation one click away. And that's radical disruption. And I think we're heading there sooner than most realize in this space.
And I just want to return to one thing, what you said in the beginning, right? And as we trail off here, I want to bring this point out and make it clear. You had started by talking about how you would love the industry because it really did intersect with people's lives more than financial conversations. You were talking with widows or divorcees or people that wanted to do more charity and philanthropy, and that's what made you tick, right? And then you become an RIA, and there's so much data entry and there's so much administrative that really takes you out of that stream. You can't possibly be a part of everyone's world anymore. Yeah. And I think this brings it all together in a nice package here, is that what you said 2 years from now, what did you say about 2 years from now?
I think 2 years from now, the advisors with the right technology would just be communicating with clients or prospects. They will literally just be talking.
Which is the genesis of your love for the industry.
That's right.
So it's ironic, right? If we can get through this chaos and really master this, it'll put us all at the center of the universe in the hearts and minds of our clients. And go ahead.
And that's how we change, I'm going to say the world, but that's how you literally change a lot of lives at scale, is when, I can't, our mission at Fynancial is we believe the advisor's voice can change the world 100 times faster than numbers and graphs. And I just firmly believe that. And so the more advisors that are talking and sharing their voice and making sure that, if markets do dip, that their client isn't reading something about, hey, we need to liquidate and turn everything to gold. And they have a place they can go get the source of truth, and it's personalized, and they know they can trust that individual. That's how we get people to make better decisions. And that's how we set families up for a successful future.
Well, Tom, thanks for being with us. It's been a really interesting conversation. I really like the approach. And I like it in two ways. I like that you're using AI to solve real problems and that you're seeing the problems. I think a lot of us don't even see what the future holds, especially with the explosion of communications. Again, it's going to be, I think, my colleagues in PR, they fear AI. I tell them it's going to create more work than we ever knew what to do with, because there's going to be this demand for attention-getting, customized communications. So I'm pretty positive about what the future holds, and I'm pretty impressed with what you're doing with regard to your industry and how AI can be that source of truth and enable what made you love the industry be front and center within the industry. So thanks for being with us.
Hey, absolutely, Greg. And hey, we're thrilled to be a client of yours as well. So
and we very much appreciate. We live it for our clients and want to learn as much as we can about the world so that we're on pace. I mean, you and I can have a thoughtful discussion about AI because we both like to be out there looking 2 and 3 years in advance. And that's the clients we love. So have a great one. And I'll be there to try out that bourbon room someday.
That sounds good. All right. Thank you, Greg. Really appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
This podcast is a production of Gregory FCA. If you enjoyed our discussion today and want to continue exploring the transformative power of AI, please check out more episodes and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.